Hi, I'm Scott Willison, owner of the Confluence Fly Shop in Bellingham, Washington. It is now mid-June, getting into the summer, and as our lakes warm up, it's a really good time to fish for warm water species like largemouth bass. A lot of people are intimidated by tying bass poppers, especially with deer hair. Let's face it, not everybody can be a Dave Whitlock when it comes to fly tying. So I am going to show you a very easy to tie bass popper that just about anybody can make at home, that makes a lot of noise, good surface commotion, and is very attractive to the big bass that lurk in our lakes. We are going to be using a Zudbubbler body. This is a product that Hairline came out with a couple of years ago. This fly, we just called it the Zudbubbler, and it is a kind of a generic style of popper that you can tie up in your favorite color combos for your local lakes. I'm going to use a size 1 Gamakatsu B10S hook. And we're going to start by just prepping our popper body. So the first thing we are going to need to do is poke a hole in this thing. And I like to go kind of center through the back and try to get that coming out in the center of the front there. So we've got that prepped. You'll notice I've got it lower down through the body toward this textured side. I like to have this side on the bottom. That texture tends to trap air bubbles and give it a little bit of shimmer, really make it look alive in the water. So now that I've got that prepped, I am going to lay down a nice thread base, because when we glue that popper body to the hook, we are going to need something for it to adhere to. Next, we're going to do a little tail of Peacock Crystal Flash. Going to cut 6 strands or so. We will center tie that material and then fold it back. And just trim those off. I also have a black Marabou feather that we're going to prepare to use for the tail. I like to cut the little centerpiece out, trim that midway down the feather. I may use the rest of that later. Just stroke those fibers back, and then we're going to tie that a little longer than the tail, or the crystal flash. Sometimes that crystal flash kind of helps to support the tail and keep it from fouling under the hook. Okay, then I've got some pre-stripped peacock herl here. You could use it right off the feather if you wanted to also, but I'm going to grab 5 or 6 strands of this. And then we'll tie that in right over the top of the tail. I'm actually going to cut those tips first so I don't risk cutting my Marabou. Trim that off. Next I've got, we're going to do a quick little hackle here. I've got a chartreuse dyed grizzly feather. You could use natural grizzly. You could use just chartreuse. Whatever you want, just mix it up. I'm going to cut the fluffy stuff off at the butt of the feather. And we'll really get that bound down. And then I'm going to take several turns of this. This will also help to keep the tail from fouling and give a little bit of nice contrast in your fly. So with each turn, I'm sweeping those fibers back. Take a few wraps to lock that feather into place, and then we'll just break that tip off. And then at this point, we can just throw a half hitch or two in there, and we're going to glue this in place so we don't have to worry about that really coming undone. Before I glue this in place, I like to run the popper body over the hook eye there and just make sure everything fits. That looks good. And then I'm going to put a little bit of Zap Gel. You could also use regular brush-on Zap-A-Gap. I find this gel really adheres a little bit better and locks that foam into place so it doesn't want to twist around on the hook. Do a little bit on the bottom there too. Doesn't take too much of this. Just kind of squeeze down on that foam to make sure it soaks up the glue, and we should be good. Next, we are going to add some legs to this thing. To do the legs, I like to set them back a little bit on the fly because I want to leave some room for some eyes, and I am going to take my bodkin and poke that all the way through. Just to pre-make a hole there. And then this could be a bobbin threader. I just happen to have a splicing tool that I made out of guitar wire. But we're going to run that through the fly there so we can pull our legs through. I've got two sets of legs here. I've got two round rubber chartreuse, two round rubber black. So we're going to end up with a total of 4 legs. And I will just insert these into the tool. And we'll just pull those through the other side. I usually make these a little longer than I'm probably going to need them, but I can always trim them to length. Now, to keep these from just slipping out when you're fishing the fly, my little trick is I'm going to take a little bit of brush-on Zap-A-Gap here. And I am going to put just a dab of glue on those legs. And then pull them a little further into the foam. Make sure I got all of it in there. And then that should effectively lock those into place. Now the last step I'm going to do, I've got a couple of these little doll eyes here that you get at the craft store. And I will use another dab of Zap Gel to get those into place. So I don't need a whole lot on there, because if I put too much, I am going to glue myself to this fly. So I got one on the near side. And then one on the other side of the hook there. And let those set up for a few minutes. We're then going to just trim our legs. I do like them fairly long. Make sure they're even. And then I will just pull those to split them apart. And these Zudbubbler bodies come in all different colors. They also take a marking pen really well, so if you want to color them up and make them fancy, that's always fun to do as well. But basic black with a contrasting color, really good bass fly, and one I like to tie a lot. So there you have it, the Zudbubbler. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out more videos on our website as well at www.theconfluenceflyshop.com. Thanks.